You're tuned in to Shop Talk, presented by RaceOnTexas.com. Here's your host, Caleb McFarland.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are for another installment of Shop Talk. I am still the host, so Caleb McFarland, and joining us this week is 14-year-old shoe. Not just a shoe, but two shoes. Mr. Christopher Townsen out of the Southeast Texas area. Chris, glad you can join us and be a part of episode 5.
Yes, sir. I'm pretty proud to be here, and thank you for having me.
You know, so I've gotten to know you a little bit more over the years since first met when you were, I believe you had just won a race over at Beaumont. And, man, you've grown up a lot. You know, you've gotten taller, your hair got longer, and, well, you're still winning races. So, I mean, I guess you're doing pretty good in that department as far as aging.
Yeah, I would say so. I think we're still doing pretty good from the day we started.
And you mentioned there you go, day you started. So, man, how did it all start for you? Like, what sparked the bug to make you want to start racing?
So my dad and his brother, they ran street stocks at Big H Speedway for a while, and then that kind of died off. And then my dad raced at Big H when it turned into asphalt. My mom and dad raced, and my brother, they all ran bandoleros and all that. And then, my whole entire family ran bandoleros and asphalt stuff. And then a couple of years after that, my uncle got into sprint cars, and once they got into all sprint cars, my dad ran them. And then we saw the junior sprints at Willis, and my mom really liked it. I really liked it. And so they bought me one, and then that's where it all started.
So you come from a racing family and a racing background, and, you know, that's kind of something that we discussed last week with the Lovell family is, you know, racing is one of those generational kind of things where, you know, the parents, either their parents raced and they got into it, and, you know, then they pass it along to the kids. And, you know, what's it like, you know, having, you know, 3 generations ahead of you out there turning laps and, you know, now in your corner?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's just like when you go to hang out and you have something to talk about, not just be that weird like family that you just race all the time and don't see your family a whole lot, when your family kind of knows what you do and they're not afraid to be a part of it. So it's a good feeling.
Yeah, I mean, looking back, I always can remember there was always about 50 million people around the Townsen racing camp back when you started running in the junior sprints. And, you know, I don't know, but, I mean, I don't know if I can't count, but it seems that number is not really going down, but it's multiplying on a pretty good deal now that you're, you know, running now in the 305 game this year. So, you know, you ran your way through junior sprints and ran restrictors, you know, and to kind of digress a little bit, and before I move on to that, you know, you spend a lot of your summers not racing around Southeast Texas and Louisiana. You're out of state.
Yeah, that's what we did this year with Frank Galusha and the Outlaw Development Program. This year we traveled with the Power Ice Series. It's like the biggest micro series out there, and we traveled from Oklahoma to Illinois to Missouri, just in the Midwest region, and we picked up 6 national points and won the Rookie of the Year. So that was always good.
And that's not too bad for only running, you know, the summertime aspect of it. You know, because y'all were up there from what, June to August, or June, September?
I don't know the correct date, but it was like a regular season. There's like 22 races.
Oh wow! Okay, yeah, that's true. Their season would start a little bit later than ours because they've got to deal with, you know, that lingering winter that we don't get to have down here in Texas. But
yeah,
you know,
my first ever. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, man. What do you got?
My first ever the Outlaw race with Frank. We was going up to, I think, the local track in his town or in Nebraska, and it actually got snowed out. So I did not get to run my first race actually with him because it got snowed out.
That's quite the opposite from what we have to deal with down here. You know, we get to go from 3 inches of rain the day before a race, and well, it's too wet. To we got about a foot of snow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, all else fails, y'all could just take the tires off, put some tracks on them, and just race them like snowmobiles. I mean,
Yeah.
if there's a will, there's a way. What's the old phrase? If two or more gather and an engine is involved, a race is going to break out. So I've seen that happen a few times, and I can't really confirm or deny that they were the best decisions, but it was entertaining for sure. But
it can happen real quick in practice too, because a couple of my buddies go out there sometimes in the micros, and you say you'll give each other space, but once you catch one of them, another one, or they catch you, it's a race. Like, you go into the corner side by side. So
yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. I mean, yeah, you're out there testing out the track, seeing how your car's feeling for the night, seeing what track conditions are going to be. But it's just I'm just going to say it's a mentality in the back of the mind of like, all right, there's somebody, I got to reel them in, and well, now we got to pass them. But you didn't have much passing to do in that first 305 win that you had out this year. I mean, correct me where I'm wrong. First time out in the car on a race night, and the rest is history. You went out there, had a fantastic heat race, won your heat race, set yourself up for success in the A main, and that was all she wrote.
Yeah, it was my first actual real race in the sprint car in the 305 with the SUS. It was about my third time ever in the car. I did about 2 or 3 practices in it. Got similar, comfortable, like medium, and I felt all right. Well, we was like, all right, we're going to go race and see what we can do. We was hoping for a top 10 to top 5, but I mean, we wasn't expecting to win it. It was a blessing, so it was amazing.
That's always one of those fun moments is, you expect for one outcome and then it ends up being something totally different. And, especially for only, like you say, 3 times in the car, so what would you say, would be a comparison, I guess you could say, or no, better yet, a difference, between running, a 600 micro to running a 305 sprint. I mean, you've ran 600s with and without wings. I mean, does it compare pretty well, except you just move up the power to weight ratio from a 600 to a 305, and, is it just on a more magnified scale, I guess you could say?
I've got told different. It's just a driver's, like, preference or prefer whatever. But, from the micro to the sprint car is real slower, like in the wheel, when you turn, it takes a bit longer. So it's actually like driving a school bus. Like, I didn't believe that at all, and I was like, there's no way it's driving like a school bus. But it literally is. Like, you go into it, and it's real slow turning, and then it turns the other way, and then you're back on the gas. And the micro, it's like chasing a squirrel. You're always like left, right, left, right, right, on the gas. So
I love the analogy, chasing squirrels, man. It feels like we chased squirrels and we tried to herd ants all last year, but things are going to be looking pretty good as far as racing seasons go this year, and looking forward to kind of delving into that with you here in a minute. But back to the differences between the two. How much of an adjustment was it to go from running a micro where your legs are kind of more out front ahead of you as far as your pedals go, and then in a sprint car, man, you're sitting straight up and your pedals are under your feet? Like, is that a big adjustment, or is it one of those things that once you kind of get going, it's irrelevant?
Man, I just got comfortable real quick in it. I just kind of thought of it sitting in an office chair. Your legs are bent and just doing your work or whatever. But, I mean, it took me a while to get used to it. I mean, the only thing that's really different is that brake, because the brake slides, and it's really tricky to understand. And I was still learning it that night that we won. It was still getting, like, more used to it. And then I finally got comfortable, and then I got, like, too comfortable with it where I was riding it and wrong spots. But we're definitely get that figured out this year. Yeah,
and, that was a very difficult track surface that night. If I remember right, that was for the Halloween Havoc. And, man, it's not that it wasn't a one-lane groove on the bottom, but, I mean, there wasn't a lot of moisture left. And so you just kind of had to, from what it looked like from the perspective that I was able to be in that weekend, you just kind of had to, pick a setup that you wanted to run for what part of the track and, almost stick to it. But, it really looked like you could put that car anywhere you wanted to put it.
Yeah, in that heat race, I mean, I was just trying to figure myself out how I liked the car, and then I found myself in the third, and then found myself in the second, and then I saw me catching the leader, and the leader was just running the top, and I wasn't going up there because I was just not comfortable yet. And I just stuck to the bottom and just reeled him in, passed him. We had a little bump, but, I mean, he said it was all right, and we drove off from there.
Yeah, we got to see a little bit. I was in the infield for that one, and I'm sitting there watching your race, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's moving up, he's catching him, holy cow! And yeah, there went the y'all had a little wheel tap, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a different ball game. He needs to watch out, but y'all both kind of held on. It didn't bother either one of y'all, and y'all just kept on running, and you got the pass. He started trying to work back to you, but I mean, it ended the way it ended, with Townsen out front, and that's a good spot you want to be in with that SUS class, because I've been catching up and watching a lot of their series and a little bit more in depth over the last couple of years, and man, there's a lot of heavy hitters that run in the top 10, top 5 in that, and you went out there your first night, and what's that like for a confidence boost? Granted you ended the year on that, but just to kind of get out there and be like, all right, we can do this.
Yeah, it was definitely a great feeling because my whole entire family was there, and it was a great feeling when you win a race or win your heat race success. Like, really, when I pulled off the track and everyone's all happy, and then after the heat race, you go to the trailer to draw, and I pulled the one, which never happens really ever. And I pulled that, and it made me super happy. And I knew I probably had that race won just because starting on the pole and the track was slick, and it's not really like a racy track at that moment. And then we got the leader kind of stressed out on us. He started outside pole. He was a really good driver. He's like an ASTS driver, I think. That's what I got told.
Yeah,
and he just had 2 better starts than me both times. And then he pulled from us for about quarter way, and then we got into lap traffic, and I reeled him in, and then a caution came out, and then we went back green, and then we caught the lap traffic again, and a guy just chopped his nose, and they wrecked in the infield. I thought I was going to wreck with them, but I mean, I got on the brakes and avoided it.
A very wise and knowledgeable man with many feature wins under his belt, name of Howard Willis, no stranger to our area. He said in an interview one time, he looked at me and says, I may be fast out there, but a lot of times the fastest cars aren't the ones that decide who wins the race. And man, I tell you what, ever since he told me that, it really starts adding up when you pay attention to it and you notice about, watching, lap traffic. You use a lap car as a pick, and in this instance, lap car takes a guy out. Well, there goes your night because the slower car just decided that you're not going to win it. So yeah. It's kind of funny, watching how everything kind of, I guess you could say, plays out, once you start noticing things. But, let's look on a bigger scale here for a minute. What we're talking about lapping cars, Kyle Larson last weekend went out, lapped up to 8th place, had, if I remember right, it was like an 18-second gap on second, coming from open wheels, running midgets and World Outlaw stuff, and now jumps into a late model. Like, as an open wheel driver, what's that look like to you to kind of see the grand picture of just watching, this guy that, that you can, aspire to be like, come out there, totally just change disciplines from open wheels to a late model and just get out there and run?
I just think he's just super comfortable. He's super comfortable in every car he drives, and me and my dad were actually talking about that. In that NASCAR, he's doing 200 mile an hour. So when he hops into a midget or sprint car, he's doing about 100 mile an hour. So it doesn't really hurt him, it doesn't scare him. So I mean, when he enters that corner sideways, it's just another drive, I guess you could say. You know what I mean? Yeah,
it gives you a little bit of speed perspective, and you're able to kind of after going 200 miles an hour, I mean, going 100 into the corner on dirt is this ain't nothing. It's a slowdown. And Channon Tankersley, he mentioned that on our second episode of Shop Talk. from when he went and ran some 410 stuff to jumping back in a 360, it was kind of like a, he didn't say it was like, like a shock, but it was a definite perception difference as far as like, well, it's just, we're really not going this fast. And so it helps you slow it down. And that's a good way of, of looking at it, going from NASCAR back to dirt, that mile per hour difference, it makes a big difference. And, if I remember right, you would go run restrictor and then run in the regular 600, correct?
Yes.
In the A class. So like,
Yes.
What's that difference like? I mean, going from restrictor to non-restrictor, I mean, does it make that big of a difference, or is it just kind of?
It's more like, it's not difference. Like, A class is faster than restricted. Really, it's wrong. Like, if you keep a restricted car hooked up, I mean, you can go compete with the A class guys. It's definitely, that's proven. It's basically proven. I mean, I ran the Pace chassis house car, the restricted one with Weldon Buford.
Yep.
At the Grand in practice, and he had a straightaway on me, and I reeled him in that restricted car, and I passed him. And it's momentum and keeping your tires hooked up.
And that's one of those things that carries on in any class of racing is, how smooth you can be. And a friend of mine, he was in the Marine Corps, and he helped with shooting instruction. And one time he and I were doing some tactical shooting here back home, and he was telling me the phrase that they use is slow is smooth, smooth is fast, and fast is sexy. And so, we can even carry that over from the Marine Corps over into racing. And man, it says everything, because there ain't not much better than a good looking car flying down the road, flying down the track and just, blazing everybody behind you. But, you mentioned Pace chassis, and we talked earlier here this afternoon, and so that's where you're working at. You're getting a little bit of employee time. So what are you doing over there here in Pace chassis here in the South aspect over there with Weldon?
So the Pace chassis South thing came along with Weldon, and me and Weldon's pretty good buddies, and we've hung out since he's ran sprint cars and micros, and I've known his dad and his mom, and they're all really nice people. And this summer, basically, at the end of the summer, really, he was looking for some help because the Pace Chassis South King thing was coming along. And I was tired of waking up around 10, 11 o'clock in the afternoon or in the morning and not doing anything with my day. And then he called me up, and he was like, well, I'll talk to Chase, and if you can get hired, will you? And I was like, for sure. I want to go do stuff. I want to learn. I want to get this experience. So about a week or so later, I get a text that says, you're hired, and next week I went to work.
Jeez, man. I tell you, it must be nice to be able to wake up at 10 o'clock and just kind of be like, well, what do I want to do today? I mean, I couldn't even tell you last time I got to do that. I mean, best guess would probably be like summer times in high school, but, at the same time, then it's like, well, I got to work this afternoon. But, man, that's good. There's not a lot of young folk, that look at it that way, to have that work ethic of, I'm tired of sitting around. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to go make money. And
yeah, my dad's a big lazy person. He's a working guy, and he's worked ever since the age of mine, and my mom is too. And when I got this offer, I just took it because once it's in you, don't let it leave you, because you can get lazy real quick. So
that's exactly right. And I'm not gonna lie, man. I'll be honest with you, and that's one thing that really wasn't a fun thing, for me last year, because being a business owner, once work slowed down for me, and I was going from working 5-6 days a week to 2 or 3, it's kind of like, well, what am I gonna do? And you just kind of have to keep that mindset of being productive and trying to stay rolling, and that's one thing that that I know that carries over into racing programs and in the shop. Knowledge is power, as the phrase goes. So, what would you say that that some of the things that you've learned over the years that that you can really add to what you do in the shop and how you keep progressing throughout your young career?
It's just paying attention, really. If someone tells you something and you just keep it in your head, it'll just keep rolling, and you'll understand some stuff. I'm still learning every day with Weldon, and he teaches me every day, and he's a great teacher, and I love working with him.
Yeah, that's kind of one of those things. Like you say, you got to listen and pay attention. My dad told me one time when I was growing up, he said, "Son, God gave you one mouth and two ears for a reason." And I'm just kind of like, "Yep, I know where this is going."
Yes, sir.
Man, and he's exactly right. I mean, just and same thing, man. Two eyes. There's so much that you can learn in this sport just from watching other people in the track, listening to them how they talk as far as what they're doing setup wise, what the track's doing, and it carries over, and that's kind of one thing that again, being young, already having that in your back pocket of that mindset, it's going to pay off in the long run. I mean, it's already been paying off in the 600 class, and now first race in the 305, it's paying off. So, what would you say is something that you want to have pay off for you, shall we say, in 2021, as far as, like goals that you have with running the 305s this year or running 600 races in between?
Our goal this year with the 305 program is try to pick up the rookie national, I believe it's the IMCA points championship for the rookie of the year, and then also try to collect the rookie of the year. I mean, the championship.
Big plans, man. That's awesome, because that's going to be tough to do. Are y'all going to pretty much just kind of stay locally and run the SUS races here? You think you may travel up and go run some of the just regular IMCA sanctioned shows on weekends that SUS is off schedule?
Yeah, our first race is March 6th at 105, and then the weekend after that, or the next weekend, I believe it's like March 13th or something like that, we're going to North Carolina and racing at Fayette Speedway, I believe it's called, or something like that.
Oh, wow.
It's a 3-day show. It's practice, race. So we're hopefully well, I said that wrong. How do I say that?
You're good. Take your time, man. Take your time.
Hopefully we do good there.
Yeah, you go.
We definitely want to get a win or two. I mean, winning everywhere would be great, but going down there and performing good there in North Carolina is a big deal, because that's like one of the two racing industries. Like, it's a big NASCAR place. So, I mean, if you win down there and someone's watching you, I mean, someone is always watching you. So if you win down there, you'll be doing good. Yeah,
man, exposure is everything. And, I've gone with a couple stock car teams to Street Stock Nationals over there in Meridian, Mississippi at old Why Not Motorsports Park. And, two of the fastest drivers that would run around here within that rules class, and then go over there. And, man, it's a night and day difference as far as the level of competition. So, not only, you're having the aspect of getting a few people, looking at you and some exposure, but, as the old proverb goes, iron sharpens iron. You're only going to get better racing against people that are better than you. And that's a great goal and great plan to have, is traveling out and kind of sizing up competition, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that's for sure. If you want to get really good, you got to race at the best. I mean, racing down local will get you good at a certain point. Like, if you start winning every local race, and if you venture off to like Oklahoma, like Missouri, some sort of states up there, I mean, it'll show how different the strength of the field is. Like, down here, it's good, you know what I mean? But when you go up there, it's like top notch. Like, it's a struggle to win. Like, it's hard.
Right. It's a totally different dynamic, I guess you could say, as far as the level of competition goes. And, even just from, running in our part of the state over here in Southeast Texas, East Texas area. I mean, you travel down South Texas or West Texas, North Louisiana. It changes every track you go. And, I remember standing around with Kenny Wallace and Howard Willis after the Texas Grand, and, he's sitting there telling them that, there's Howard Willis's at every track in every area that you go to. And, and just kind of using Howard. He was using Howard as an example to Howard, kind of ironic and funny in that. But, it's kind of cool that when you look at that aspect of, when you are the guy in your area, you can go somewhere else and, well, they got their own guy, and you may not be as good as that guy, but that's how you get better. And, between that and the nights in the shop that, grinding out the long hours, and, off season is getting close to wrapping up. So, I mean, how's the car coming? Y'all just about ready to, if there was a race, we won't say this weekend, but, race next weekend, you're ready to go, huh?
Well, we're about 75% done. We just got some small stuff to do, finish the trailer, get it all tidied up, and get the car put together and get ready for March 6th.
I've asked everybody this kind of question just about on every episode of Shop Talk, and, we'll just kind of keep the trend going because, well, why not? If you had to, pick one moment out of all your races that you've done so far, or, growing up around racing, with your family, what would you say would be one thing that sticks out as just an ultimate favorite memory and favorite moment until now? Until at this point, I guess you could say.
Well, you said one, but there's two. See, when we was running our junior sprint, there's two good guys, and it was a struggle to beat them. They was both my really good friends, and it took us forever to win a junior sprint race. And when we won one, it was about the greatest feeling ever. Like, everyone was happy, and I just felt so accomplished that people are happy with something I did finally. You know what I mean? It's a great feeling when you pull back to the trailer and everyone's happy and you just won a race. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And, that's always one of the fun things to watch, as an announcer, or, even weekends that I'm not announcing, is, in the pits is watching, the joy and the happiness that's on everybody's face, with that racing camp, is, seeing everybody watch that hard work come, pay off, and just everything come to fruition is, those are the moments that are hard to beat. It's just, it's the culmination of everything going right.
Yeah, it's not always happy moments at the racetrack, but there's a lot of it, and there's a lot of aggression too. But I mean, it's just a part of how it goes. Yeah,
because there's times in races where sometimes you're the bat and sometimes you're the ball. So, yeah, I've seen. I know you have too. We've seen our fair share of interesting moments of aggression, but that's kind of one of those deals where it just kind of comes with racing. I mean, you're running at a competitive level, and adrenaline's flowing, so stuff happens.
Yeah. The most of the adrenaline I've ever had was when I won that sprint car race. Like, when everyone runs down and you're happy, and like people are like smacking you on your head, and they're trying to like make this is real life, right? Like, someone hit me, do something, make sure this is real life. And then when that red happened, when they all flipped in turn one, I crossed the checkered, and I was like, yes, I won. And then that red came out. Man, I was super happy, and I was like, I won this race. And then I didn't get out my car because I thought they was going to, like, have a 3 to go, like a green, white, checkered situation.
Right,
and I was like, no way. Like, I won this race. And then I was waiting for that transponder to come over, and they was like, the 6 of Christopher Townsen has won. And I just, like, freaked out. And I was like, let's go. Like, finally. This is great.
Yeah, you man, I don't know how you didn't slap a hole through the top of that wing, man. I was on the infield, man, and I heard it all the way from the infield. I was like, golly. I mean, you're trying to add a couple handprints in there. Just I don't know how extra little ripples of a handprint would help with the arrow off the top of that wing, but holy cow, it was one of those deals. Yeah, you could see the emotion, with everyone on the team. It was a big outward sign of just pure happiness and joy. And those are the moments in racing that and I know your parents, they look at them too, as far as with you racing, like, sit back and just watch everyone just be elated in that moment. And I know your parents have gotten to experience that a lot with you over the years of you winning races and climbing on out, and just oh my gosh, yeah. But yeah, I mean, that first 305 win, that's going to be one that's going to stick with them for a while until you give them another big race to to kind of replace it with. But the first one, man, it's always, as they say, the first one's the hardest. But after that, second one is always going to be harder.
Yeah, my dad told me you'll lose more than you'll win, and it's just like it's kind of just a racing thing. You want to win every race, but it's very difficult to do.
Absolutely, and that's kind of the thing of it is the consistency that you do in the shop, the consistency at the track, and not necessarily at the track but on the track, hitting your marks and making sure that you're just running the best perfect lap that you can every time, and that it's tough. It's a big mental mind game, with that, because it's one of those things. There's
you got to stay focused.
Yeah, man. It's the pressure's all on you. It's one little thought of, man, I'm hungry, and then boom, you miss your mark, and you're in the corner too high, and
yeah. That's kind of it's a weird thing because my cousin there, he was kind of like my crew chief, kind of worker that night.
Right.
JJ Whitworth, he drives sprint cars too, but no, he was there, and he was like, man, I'll give you $500 if you win this feature. Actually, I'll give you $1,000 if you win it. And I was like, well, the deal was, so he owed me $500 because I won the heat race or something like that.
Right.
And then it was an extra $500 if I win, but I had to cut my hair off if I lost. And I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that one.
Yeah,
I'll take my $500 I've already made.
That's right.
And I knew I should have done it, but I mean, I'm happy I didn't because I don't like taking money from my family. But yeah, it's part of it.
Hey, yeah, man, that's kind of one of those things. Trash talk, back it up. You know what? Fine, pay me $500. I'll do it. But
yeah,
yeah, man, dude, your hair's getting it's catching up to mine. You're getting a little lengthy there.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit long. I need to get a haircut before race season. But yeah,
I know, right? This be one of those things, especially down here running in our area. I mean, I can't imagine. I've done the whole fire suit and helmet deal, back some years ago, but man, I couldn't imagine doing it right now with as long as my hair is. I mean, let alone yours. I mean, holy cow. It's, you got some curly hair, man. It's, no, not about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like adapted around me. I mean, I started growing it like 2 or 3 years ago, and I told myself to cut it one day, and I tell myself every day that, all right, we're going to get my hair cut today. Going to get my hair cut today. And it just never happened, and I just let it grow out. Now I feel weird if I go cut it because I don't want to look like a bald cat or something dumb. Like,
I know, right, man? That's I've been growing out mine. Back up. I've been growing mine out to donate it in honor of a friend of mine's son who passed away of cancer. And people always say, man, how much longer you got? How much longer you got? And I'm like, I don't know, but it's close. But dude, I can tell you, like, whenever those scissors go snip, it's gonna feel different, because like you get used to having something on your head, and then when it's not there, it's gonna be weird. But I'm not gonna lie, man, I kind of miss having a 1 on the sides and a 2 on the top, just real short hair. But it'll be a little bit, man. Still got a little bit to go, but mine has a goal. Yours is for fun, but I guess that's the kicker of being young is you can do it just because you feel like it.
Yeah, it's definitely like a thing. Like, everyone knows who I am because of my long curly hair. And then there's a couple nicknames that goes around, like Curly or like just dumb stuff with my name. But I mean,
oh, come on, keep giving the nicknames, man. We'll use them on a broadcast.
I don't know all of them.
Don't worry, man. First race that I have, man, that you're on the track, you're gonna be Christopher Curly Townsen. That's boom, there it is.
Sweet.
It's gonna stick. I mean, I'll say, that maybe we'll just have to, maybe your mom have to tell me, don't call you Curly and I can call you Chris. We'll trade off. But nah, dude, that was funny, man. And when you told me that night, I was like, man, I didn't know that was a big deal. I've been calling you Chris all these years, but okay.
Yeah, it's just like she's told my family before, like, his name's not Chris, it's Christopher, so call him that. And then, like, I just picked up that she started calling me. I was like, I'll just tell him just in case. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's not a big deal, but I mean, to make her happy.
Hey, man, if mom's not happy, ain't nobody happy. But, and I mean, from, announcer's perspective, that's one of the things that, for us is, it's something small, but it carries a great deal is, the credibility and getting people's names right, pronouncing them right. And I always tell people when I'm at the racetrack, if I think I'm saying somebody's name wrong, I'm like, hey, look, y'all come up here and tell me, just because, for same instance, you don't want somebody's family or friends, being like, "That's not his name." But it happens. I mean, prime example, here it is right here. I mean, we're even archiving it in Shop Talk that I've called you the wrong name all these years.
The one big nickname's going around is CT. It's been going around
CT,
for like
that's
years.
man. Yeah, I think you told me that at the non-wing fling down there in Alvin.
Yes, sir.
That was one of your first races back from running up there in the Midwest, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir. That was my first race down here. I ran wing all year, and then I ran non-wing this year for like the first time in a while. And I mean, I guess we did pretty good. I won restricted. Well, actually, the first night I didn't win restricted. I won my heat race, and I got passed by my own sponsor, or like my teammate we sponsor them, and the Moss family. They're a good family, and I hate getting passed, but I've never been so much happier to see someone pass me. Like, oh man, that's my name passing me. I better go pass him back.
Yeah.
And then I tried to go past him coming out of turn 2, and I clipped the infield tire, and then they sent me to the back. But yeah, we finished 5th that night. It's definitely not what I wanted. I expected you out there and win. I mean, but I got beat, so it's not a big deal. And then A class, we ran out there, and I wasn't expecting a whole lot. But we just started like running up the tree. I started like 8th, and then the 5th, and then the 3rd or 4th, and then actually it was 4th, and I passed Isaiah on like 2 to go for 3rd, and then I sat there, and then we pulled off, and I think I finished 3rd. But it locked me into Saturday night, and then we ran that dash for Saturday night in the A class car.
Right.
And I started 3rd, and I almost had the lead going into turn 3. And then I fell back to 3rd. I mean, we kind of all shuffled back. And then me and someone entered. I forget who it was. I think it was Riley Shepard. And we went in there side by side, and a gap opened up on the bottom, and Weldon Buford just stuck it right there. And we was 3 wide. He wasn't lifting. I wasn't lifting, or the guy on the outside wasn't lifting. And I mean, I'm not scared. So I mean, I was just gonna stay in it. I'm not gonna let these guys bully me around. I mean,
man.
The best guys all year. So I'm not gonna let this guy pass me. I was on the throttle, and he was on the throttle, and his right rear just like kind of snugged my left front, and once it did, it just spit me around, and I got hit by Jake, and they flipped, and I just kept going. Well, anyways, it broke my my left front brake caliper, and after that, just the car was kind of just off. It was just my fault. I mean, I should have lifted, but I mean, I'm a race car driver. I'm not gonna lift. So I went out there for that A main. I started like 6th or whatever, and it just wasn't the same without that left front brake. I mean, I really like figured that out. Like, oh man, that sucked. I should not have done that.
Takes one corner to figure out. This isn't gonna be good.
Yeah, I went in there, and I got tight, so I'd get on the brakes to try to point the nose, and it just got tighter. I was like, oh no.
And man, here we are. We're in January. Non-wing fling was second
November?
to last weekend in October, I believe. It was the week before. It was the week before the Halloween Havoc. Yeah. And man, you explained that restrictor race in the same way that you did that Friday night. Exact same words. Couldn't be any more happier for him, man. And that was. Dude, it's cool to kind of see, the in the moment perspective still be the same, and that still kind of heartfelt happiness for him, because that was a lot of people don't know this as to why it was such a monumental thing, but that was Dalton's first race in the restrictor, and
yes,
that kind of like your first run in the 305, like it just makes it even more sweeter. To be able to get out there and do good. I mean, especially, y'all ran junior sprints together. Y'all ran.
Actually, I don't think I ever raced him in the junior sprint. Nuh-uh.
Really?
Yeah. No, I haven't.
Oh, so, I'm sorry. Yes, because you moved up to restricted a little bit before he got into junior sprints. That's right.
I'll tell you the story how our names on that car. We're actually on both cars. So as we was getting out of junior sprints, Scott and Katie was looking for a junior sprint for Dalton, and at the time we had my backup car, and actually we had 3 cars. One was just a bare frame that we just got from a deal or something like that, so we gave them the frame and all our parts, like literally everything we had, out of our trailer, out of like our garage. Like, they got everything of ours. And once we did that, he started getting really good in the junior sprint, like really good. And I was like, man, I am super happy that we gave this car to this kid, because he's gonna be really he's gonna have a big name behind him, just because what's he's gone through and how's his life been going. So he's had not a struggle, but I mean, it's been a rough little ride.
Yeah,
for that
he's had the cards stacked on him. Health wise as a young kid, and Katie always mentions it as we've been through. He's been through so much. This isn't nothing for him.
Yeah, that's for sure. So the restricted thing, it was we saw him run it, or they were building the car, and I figured that we should just put our name on the car again, and we did that, and so this is how it happened, actually. So we go to the race at Alvin one weekend. It was a couple weekends before the Havoc.
Right.
Or the non-link flame. And we showed up, and we was given another car, one of my good friends, Steven Robbins, and his dad, Ricky Robbins, a car, so they can get started, and they're buying it slowly. But we went there, and they saw my big old white trailer roll up. They're like, "Are you racing?" I'm like, No, I wish. I mean, I'm sorry, but not this weekend, unfortunately. Well, anyways, it goes along. They was like, Dalton was asking my mom and dad, like, when's CT gonna run his restricted car again? They was like, probably not, because he's been wanting to race me for a long time, like a super long time.
Right, yeah.
And he was so pumped when we pulled up to the non-link flame and I was racing. I've never seen a kid so happy. He was like, "I'm racing you finally?" I'm like, yeah, you are. And then he beat me. I'm like, man, you just beat me, man. That's not good.
You pulled in the gate, man. That was his goal. He's like, I'm gonna beat him. And
in that feature, he down the back straightaway, he gave me a big old bump, and it got me all swirly, and that's how he passed me. I mean, bump and run. I've done it before. I'm not mad.
Yeah.
When he hit me, I knew who it was. I was like, man, I got to get on the gas. Like, this kid's about to pass me. And man, he passed me, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. And then the second night, we roll with the restricted, and he was at our pits. He's like, oh, I'm a little nervous. I think Christopher's going to put the bumper next to me. So we go to that. I go to the heat race. I go from 6th to 2nd, and then we got put in that qualifier. And, man, I went to the first corner on his bumper. I was like, man, you're going to do it to me, I'm going to do it to you. You know what I mean? Like, once the helmets go on, I don't know who that is. They don't know who I am. So I'm just do my job. And I got him. And I thought I was going to have him a bit better. I got on his bumper, and I just pushed him down the back straightaway as far as I could. And I pushed him a little high, and I just kind of slid him. But, he drove right around me, and I was like, oh, man, that's not good. I did not expect him to drive around me. So, go back to that slowest faster mentality.
Right.
He ran the top, and I was just following him, and he was pulling away from me. And they showed us halfway, and he was still pulling away from me. And in 1 and 2, I was good. He was just better than me. He really was better than me. And then he ran it right through the same top line. And I was just like, I know this bottom's faster. You just got to slow the car down, be smooth. And I slowed the car down, and on the white flag lap, I passed him just because he was up there sliding the car, and I was down there on the bottom just rolling it smoothly. And when I passed him, and then we won it, and then I was talking to Scott, he was like, that's just where the experience comes in, just slower is faster mentality.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like Dalton will get that just because his uncle is Jake, and they're all super fast and smart. That kid's going to be the best around here in a few short years.
Yeah, man, it's been fun getting to watch Dalton kind of come up and run the junior sprints.
And all
yeah,
that.
Man, and now he's going to move full time in restrictors this year. I was talking to Jake earlier. Scott's oldest daughter, Dayton, she's about to start driving the
junior sprint.
Dalton's old junior sprint, and it's kind of one of those things of it's a good car, and it's going to be fun to watch her kind of learn a little bit from Dalton, and kind of tell her about the car and this, that, and the other. It's gonna be a fun year for Moss Racing. Watching all that transpire and kind of all the hard work pay off.
He will he will definitely be the domination down here in that restricted class. Like, they just got to get him where he kind of calms down and see that second night he was all happy. You know what I mean? Everyone was happy for him. I was happy for him. He was running around, and I told him, I said, you want to beat the best. I mean, you got to stay calm, and you know what I mean? Just, you can't run around. And I totally understood it because I run around still sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, trust me. I see you running around on that little pit bike.
Yeah. Once you got to do, like, your job, you just got to finally just calm down. Like, all right, I can do this later. And I saw him running around, and I'm like, man, I got to go tell him. And I told him, I was like, you might just want to go sit down, all right? Like,
yeah, just kind of chill out a little bit.
Like, yeah, and I mean, I'm not his mom or dad, so he didn't. But I mean, that's fine. He kind of did his own thing, and I kind of did my own thing. I helped the Cook's family out with Pace Chassis for that minute or two over there when they just needed the help, and
man, it's really cool to kind of hear another racer talk about other racers, you know, coming up and you know, looking forward to seeing them be successful in what they do. And you know, that's just one of the phrases, you know, that we use in this industry is, you know, it's a racing family. You know, you're wanting the best for the guy next to you, but at the same time you're going to go out there and be like, hey, look, you know, I'm going to beat you. But you know, you still want to see him thrive and continue to keep going. And Christopher, that's one thing that I hope for you and your team as well this year in 2021 is to be able to continue that success and that momentum from the end of 2020 throughout this year. And you know, really hope that that y'all have a very successful and safe year out there on the road with all the traveling y'all do. And you know, we gotta cut it a little short here. As you know, anyone that's been around either of us, we know that we can both just keep talking and talking. But unfortunately, we got to wrap her on up. And man, I thank you for coming on. It's been nice to, you know, chat with you and catch up with you a little bit more, just on, you know, a little bit of the story behind Christopher C.T. Townsen.
Yes, sir. Thank you, and thank RaceOnTexas and your in this shop talk. And I'd like to thank R.W. Burke Trucking, TSS, Kaiser Wheels, ZMAX Race Products, DR2 Racing Engines, and J&J Auto Racing Chassis.
Well, there it is, folks. That's the last words out of the man there, Christopher C.T. Townsen. Be looking out for him on the old 305 Sprint Car Circuit. And as always, if you got any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to shoot us an email or a message on Facebook. We'll do our best to get back to you. And in the meantime, I'm Caleb McFarland. Thank you, and good night.